Start to get nervous after a while.
There we go.
Awesome. All right. I'd like to call to order the Finance Committee meeting of the City of Williamsport, the City Council of the City of Williamsport. It is Tuesday, July 8th, 1:04 p.m., and we are live on a digital platform. We have a short agenda today, technically 5 items, but the budget report that was item number 1 is not yet quite ready, so we'll hope to do that in 2 weeks' time. And of course, item number 5 is always any related items, which may not amount to much. Present at today's meeting from the Finance Committee, we have myself, Liz Mealy, as well as Randy Allison and Eric Biter. From the general body of City Council, we also have Bonnie Katz, and Janice Frank, the City Clerk, is here. From the administration, we have Valerie Fessler, Melanie Shutt, Peg Woodring, Jamie Livermore, and I saw Donna Fuller on here somewhere, though I don't see her currently. And I'm trying to think see if I missed. Anyway, that'll take care of an initial roll call at least. We're going to begin then with item number 2 on our agenda, a transfer ordinance number 6 in first reading. Jamie Livermore, would you like to take that one?
Good afternoon, everybody. So transfer ordinance number 6 is another 2025 transfer through Act 13. What this is doing is taking $12,138 from the designated Youngswood Park improvement match that we had initially budgeted. It's my understanding that we are getting a match from somewhere else. So we moved this money to a new line item for the payment of PFM for the Stamp 2.0, the strategic planning grant, because we're required to pay 10% of that. So that's all this is doing, is just moving it from that $12,000 from Youngswoods to the Stamp 2.0.
Great. Yeah, that was what it looked like to me. Questions from Randy or Eric? I think we've discussed this previously.
I don't.
Nor do I.
Okay. Thanks, Jamie. Yeah, that one was anticipated. So we're glad to see that money getting moved, and glad to hear that there is still a different match for the work at Youngswoods.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Item number 2 is a resolution adopting the Community Development Block Grant Home Program Procurement Policy. Valerie?
Hi, and also on the line with us today, I'm not sure if you met her previously, Angie from CEDACOG. Jamie Schroeder is unavailable, but Angie is here today to answer any questions if you have them. This is pretty straightforward. Each year we adopt CDBG and home program procurement policies just to make sure that our policies are in alignment with the state and federal requirements. So these policies have been reviewed and approved by Austin White, and nothing new here. Any questions?
Randy, Eric, anything from you?
No, I didn't. I do not.
Great.
Nor do I.
Okay. The one question that I would have for you, Valerie, is I don't remember us having a procurement policy in place in the past. Have we had one and I just don't remember us instituting it?
I can't answer that because this is my first year bringing it forward for approval, but I would assume so. I can double check.
I know that I've approved a language access coordinator before, but the procurement policy did not look as familiar. It's no big thing, and it is mandated, by the funding. So there's, nothing all that,
right.
No real comment to have, but I just couldn't recollect seeing us approve one before.
I can't answer that, unfortunately.
Randy, you remember anything?
No, I believe you're right. I don't think we did have a policy ever that I recall.
Well, now we do.
All right. Well, there we go. Now it's all set.
Yeah, no, it's long time overdue, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, sometimes I like, I suppose it's possible those regulations changed recently that required us to implement one. Like I said, I do remember the
Right.
language coordinator from maybe 3 or 4 years ago, but anyway. Okay, moving on. Speaking of which, to item number 4, which is a resolution appointing a language access coordinator for the city of Williams.
Liz, this is Bonnie.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I couldn't
Oh,
unmute
sure.
myself. Computer was acting up. I do have a statement. The procurement officer was hired by RVT at the time. And if you can remember, go back when it wasn't an authority, and Bill Nichols was going to also have the procurement officer go through City Hall. I don't
Yeah.
think that ever happened at all, but that's where they wanted to bring it at one point. Janice, do you remember that? Maybe she's not on, but
I mean, I remember that, Bonnie. I think though is something different because it's about basically allocating contracts with CDBG funding.
Okay.
But I remember the procurement officer, and I remember at the time
Yeah.
thinking it was a good idea. But
Yeah.
yes, I agree that I don't remember that procurement officer ever having much of anything to do with anything happening in City Hall.
Yeah, it
Um,
never happened, I don't think, at all.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyhow, I'll put my 2 cents in.
Yes,
Okay.
I remember that too. It was for RVTA, but it never came through the city. But I don't think that was related to community development
Mhm.
as this states, correct?
Yeah, I think that was something different. I do think that we talked about developing general procurement policies within the city, and that was one of the jobs of the procurement officer that was hired. But then, like I said, that those procurement policies never took shape. And even if
Right.
we had them, I think it would have related more to procurement of office supplies, training,
Mhm.
services general to the city.
I can jump in.
Yep.
Thank you. It took me a little bit to kind of go through my files to find them. There was a procurement policy that was adopted at a regular public meeting on April 27th of 2023. It looks like it is the old version of the procurement policy. It may have been something that Jamie had done when she started to take administration. But there was an update to the procurement policy that we needed to update to include the whistleblower protections, which is
Got it.
why the procurement
Wow.
policy is being brought before you again. Typically, you wouldn't see this, one every 5 years. But because of this update, it needed to be readopted. But I just wanted to touch base that I do see one signed in our file from April of 2023.
Well, there you go. I guess it just wasn't all memorable. Thanks, Angie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I am glad that community development has a procurement policy. I think to Bonnie's point, it might be a good idea for the whole city to have a procurement policy in place, but we're not about to take care of that today. So anyway, thank you, Angie, and there you go, something that apparently none of us remember from 2 years ago.
Well, that's a big ask for me.
I guess. Well, I'm thinking, well, that was right at the meeting before my birthday. Maybe I went some. Anyway, all right. Either way, moving on now to item number 4, and the language access coordinator, Valerie.
Yes, so this simply appoints Donna Fuller, or our Human Resources Director, as our Language Access Coordinator. Excuse me. This basically means that if there are persons with limited English proficiency that would like to have access to our programs and services, that it would be up to Donna to make sure that we are providing them with the appropriate resources to be able to work with them. And this is one of those ones where we basically said it was the Human Resources Director. We appointed the position, not the person.
And was it the Human Resources Director in the past who was our language?
Yeah. Yep. So no changes here, just updating. Have this appointed for our policies.
Okay. All right. Randy, Eric, any questions about this?
I don't have any questions, no. I'm glad we have it in place to help people.
Have we had any call for this service that we know of?
Not that I'm aware of. Not in my time here. We haven't.
And I know we have a larger percentage of people in Williamsport than I remember having, at least when I was growing up, people for whom English is a second language, but I still haven't ever heard of a whole lot of demand in terms of community development services. But hopefully we see that. It would certainly be good to know that we were reaching populations in need, and I suspect, people for whom English is a not very strong second language are likely to be populations in need in the city on occasions. Anyway, okay, if I hear no questions on this item, then we'll keep going. It's rather short agenda. To item number 5, which is any related items. Does anyone have anything to introduce? Hearing nothing, I'm trying to think if there was anything related to financial items that it would be good for us to discuss here. I can't particularly think of anything. I would point out that we are slightly better than halfway through the year at this point, so kind of effectively moving into the 26 budget season. And that does put us a lot closer to the sort of tipping point that we spent a lot of time discussing at the end of 25, which is that this is likely to be the first year where we've been backfilling a substantial shortfall in the city's budget with American Rescue Plan Act funding. But this year that is officially over. And so we are likely to have a relatively major budget shortfall. So I would encourage the other members of the Finance Committee, members of council, and of course, members of the administration too, I suppose, to just begin considering ways in which we could ideally find some funding that would help us, or make cuts, I suppose, that would help us meet that budgetary need and pass a balanced budget in 26 or at the end of 25 without too much fighting and too much soapbox sort of standing on the part of members of council. So anyway, that's everything. It was a pleasure seeing you all briefly tonight, and I will see everybody on Thursday.
Same to you
Thank
and everyone
you.
else. Yeah.
Thank you, Liz.
Thanks,
See you
guys.
Thursday.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Take care, everyone.
Yeah, take care.